How is it going, everyone? It is K-Lumity here, and today we are going to be going over my first game hunt of 2025. I started off this game hunt this year with the usual place that I love to go, which is Disc Replay. I went a couple of other locations as well. I wasn't exactly sure what I was looking for this time, but I did end up finding quite a bit of stuff. There's always so many games that I am missing, so many games that I haven't even heard of before. It's always cool to still learn about games that you don't even realize exist. And I've installed a couple of those today, and I even got a couple of those. So first things first, I went looking for the Wii games because I am looking for Wii games. I saw Disney Planes there. That one is actually one that has been on my list for a long time. I'm looking for a lot of the Disney games on the Wii. It had actually a lot of console exclusives on the Wii. And I'm also just looking for a lot of like racing games and stuff on the Wii because it actually has either, I don't want to say great racing games, but it has some hidden gems on there for sure. It also has some really sloppy ones, but I'm trying to find those hidden gems, and I love doing reviews for the Wii as well. It's just a really fun system to collect for and to play for. I saw this game, Heathcliff. I think I've seen this game actually here before, but I didn't get it just because it didn't have the cover art. And there's actually quite a few cases like that this time where I just didn't pick up a game either because it didn't have the cover art or because the cover art was really nasty. I've been trying to avoid really nasty cover art recently, and it seemed like I kept running across it in this trip, unfortunately, but I was still able to find some goodies. I'll always look at all of the GameCube games, but I never really find anything that calls out to me, it seems like, whenever I go to any of these places. I'm still trying to find more GameCube games for my collection, but it's a struggle. You can see there, I saw that game and it was water damaged so badly that I could not pick it up. Saw Cars get there. I almost picked that up for the GameCube, but I do remember that there's actually an Xbox 360 version of that, which was actually the version I grew up playing, and I'd rather have the 360 version because you can play that obviously in HD compared to the GameCube. There are ways to play the GameCube in HD, but it's kind of like, workaround type things. But here is some of the Xbox 360 games. I was looking at those as well. I did look for Cars in the Xbox 360 section. Unfortunately, I did not find it. I did see this Dirt game. I had not heard of this Dirt game before, Dirt Showdown. I'm not a huge fan of the Dirt series, but it is something I've been wanting to get into just because I do like, dirt racing and off-road racing and stuff. So it's something that I'm looking to get into. Looking at PS3 games, but honestly, not a whole lot of PS3 stuff was calling out to me. There's still definitely some heavy hitters I need on the PS3. Like, I need to pick up the Killzone trilogy eventually on the PS3, or at least Killzone 2 and 3, but I just haven't done it yet. There's MotorStorm. MotorStorm is a fun game, but it's kind of, I know that a lot of people like this game, MotorStorm, but it's just kind of okay to me. It's fun, but there's a lot of better racing games on the PS3, so I haven't picked it up yet. I used to play it, though, back in the day. Cars 2, did see that, thought about getting it. You can see the back of it was water damaged once again. That's what I was talking about when I kept seeing all those water damaged cases and just really gross looking cases, too. Sometimes you open up the cases and you look at the backside of them, like where the white is behind the cover art, and you just see all sorts of stuff there and stuff that shouldn't be there, and it looks like things are growing and you don't want that. I was looking at PS2 games. I always gotta look at PS2 games since that's my favorite system, and I did see some goodies, including this Monster 4x4 game. I was tempted to pick this one up, but this one was another one of those that was just really, the cover art was just torn up, the case was torn up, it was nasty, so I passed on that. But I did get lucky, and I found a copy that was in good condition. So I did end up finding a copy, and I'm very happy I did find this copy because I hadn't heard of this game, but I always try to pick up all the monster truck games I can, especially when they're like Monster Jam like this one is. So I'm excited to try this one out and see what it is all about. One thing that I'm actually missing on the PlayStation 2 that I really need to find, but I've been having problems actually finding it, is the Burnout series. I have had such a hard time finding the Burnout series. There's Crash Tag Team Racing, a fantastic game, and I actually have done a review for that on the channel, and I'll actually leave that in the description down below. I saw this game, Dog's Life. I had never heard of this. I almost picked this up just because I had never heard of it before, but it also looked really bad. It looked kind of crappy, so I decided not to get it. But it was interesting that I had never seen that game before. A PS2 game that I had never seen before is always a cool thing to see. Batman Vengeance, this is a game that I wanted, but it didn't have its original cover art, so I decided not to get it. But yeah, I was looking for those Burnout games, but they didn't have them in the case, and I want them in the case if I'm going to pick them up. I feel like a lot of people just don't sell that game for good reasons because that is such a great game, but it makes it so much harder to find. I would love to find it eventually. I saw the HSX game. I actually picked that up not that long ago, and they had tons and tons of copies of that one. Ridge Racer down there. I still need to play that actually and do a review for it. I saw this RTX game, didn't know what it was, flipped it over. It kind of looks like Star Trek, but it also looks not good. So I decided to put it back up as well. But yeah, I keep looking for PS2 stuff, man. I love that system, and I'm going to keep looking for stuff. There's still a lot that I want to play for it. I'm looking for Warhammer also, Warhammer Fire Warrior. I'm looking for that game, and it'd be nice to find it eventually. Found Shark Tale on the PS2. This is one that I actually have talked about picking up on the channel before, and I just haven't done it. But that copy was only $2.99, and it was actually in really nice condition. So that was something that I needed to think about there for a second, because $2.99 for any video game is a pretty darn good deal these days. So Star Wars Bombad Racing, I love that game in a kind of weird, ironic sort of way. I was looking at the other shelf. Usually there's more PS2 games back there, but unfortunately not today. They had boxed Game Boy Advance games. I don't collect them boxed personally. I don't like having cardboard boxes around. I know some people like that stuff, but I'm not a cardboard box collector. You know, if it's not in a plastic case, I don't really try to get it. I'm fine with just getting the cartridge loose if it's not in a plastic case. And I was looking at all these Game Boy games though, and there were so many. And there's just so many that I want/need in my collection. And I knew that I was going to be coming home with quite a few Game Boy Advance games. There's so many that on the Game Boy Advance, so many that I've never heard of before. I see that Jimmy Neutron game there. I need to get the Jimmy Neutron games on the Game Boy Advance eventually, because I grew up with Jimmy Neutron. I grew up with the PS2 games, so I've never played the Game Boy Advance games, but I feel like it's something that I'd enjoy. I see Monster Truck Madness there, and that is something I actually already own, but there is another Monster Truck game on the Game Boy Advance that I was looking for in this video. See Disney Skate there. I actually already have that one as well. I see Soccer Mania there. That is actually a Lego soccer game, and it's one that I played on the PS2, and it's a lot of fun on the PS2, and I highly recommend that you check it out. I don't know how it is on the Game Boy Advance, but it is something that I am tempted to check out eventually, but I do see it quite often. I did check out the N64 games, just in case. You never know. But unfortunately, nothing I was really looking for this time. And I did look at the Genesis games as well, but again, nothing I was really looking for. Now, this is a different location. This is Game World, but there wasn't really a whole lot that I was looking for here. But I did see this Blunder Bros for $50. I love that game. I have not played the Game Boy Advance, I guess the actual Game Boy Advance copy. I played the version of it that's on PC because it's so much cheaper. Like, if you want to play that game, just play the PC version. It's like, I think usually like $7 or something like that. It's really cheap, and I highly recommend trying it out. It's a fantastic game. It's just unfortunately really expensive to get the cartridge for it. So you can still get it on Steam though for a pretty fair price. They had a lot more N64 games here at Game World than they did at Disc Replay, and I was definitely tempted by some of them, but I wasn't feeling N64 this time. I have plenty of N64 games I need to play through. I ended up going to a half-price books location as well. I saw that Jungle Green N64, always a cool thing to see. I see it actually quite a bit. I think I see that more than almost all the other colors at this point. They had some PS3 games, looked at those, didn't see anything too crazy, but Game Boy Advance games were there, and I saw Nicktoons Racing. That is a game I did not know existed. I also saw Pokemon Emerald there for $200, and I was just like, nah, that's not happening. That Nicktoons Racing game, though, that's something I did not know existed, and when I saw it, I had to really consider getting that one, and I did consider getting that one. And I did get that one because I had never seen it before, and I love Nicktoons Racing. I love old Nicktoons. I love old cartoons that I grew up with, Cartoon Network, Nicktoons, Disney. If it's something I grew up with, I'm probably going to enjoy playing it, so I had to check it out. I did check out the Wii section as well. I'm still looking for Wii games. Not a whole lot that I could find that I was interested in, unfortunately, on the Wii here. There was some stuff that I thought about, but the cases were really, again, just really nasty cases, you know? I saw that Cruise in there, and I really wanted that, but when I picked up the case, it was so crusty. I was just like, no, I don't think so. I also saw this game here, The Legend of Alundar. Never heard of it, but apparently it's some sort of fantasy game, and it actually looks pretty cool. I kind of regret not picking that one up, honestly. I should have probably gotten that one because it looked neat, and for some reason I passed on it, and I don't really have a good excuse as to why. I guess I was just kind of concerned that it would be another one of those games that it looks cool, but there's probably a reason why I hadn't heard of it. But I don't know. Maybe I should have picked that one up after all. But either way, at least I did find one good game from, Half Price Books here. Alright, so I am back from game hunting, and here is everything I decided to pick up today. So I got a lot of Game Boy Advance games, as you can see here. I got 12 total, and I also got 3 games for consoles. So let's go ahead and start with the Game Boy Advance games. And I'll start with the one game that I did get at Half Price Books. I got this Nicktoons Racing game. I like any sort of game that kind of gives off a 3D effect on the Game Boy Advance. They're not always good, if I'm being honest, but this one actually looks like it could be pretty decent. It's a Mario Kart style game, so I saw that and I thought that looks pretty cool, so I went ahead and picked it up. I had never actually seen this before, and for $6.99, that seemed like an okay price. And also, it's made by the Infogrames there, and they actually made or published some pretty good stuff back in the day, so excited to see what that game is like. And everything else is all from Disc Replay in this video. So let's start off with this one. I already had Kim Possible 2 and 3, and I was missing Kim Possible 1, so I went ahead and picked up that one. And I went nuts with the SpongeBob games. The SpongeBob games were really good, and I hadn't played a lot of the Game Boy Advanced ones. I did used to play a lot of Lights, Camera, Pants back in the day. Whenever I was sick and I had to stay home from school or anything like that, I would go over to my grandma's house, and I would actually play the Game Boy Advance over there with my cousins, and I would play SpongeBob SquarePants Lights, Camera, Pants on that, and that was always a lot of fun. So it's nice to have that since I used to play that a lot. But I never played these two games on the Game Boy Advance. I played Revenge of the Flying Dutchman on the PS2, but never the Game Boy Advance version, and this is SpongeBob SquarePants Super Sponge, so 2 games on the same cartridge there. And then Creature from the Krusty Krab. This is another SpongeBob game where I've never actually played the PS2 version or this version, so I'm excited to check all of those SpongeBob games out and do videos on them, of course. I picked up another dual cartridge. This has Hot Wheels World Race and Hot Wheels Velocity on it. So Hot Wheels World Race by itself was also $5. So I figured I might as well get the dual cartridge that has World Race and Velocity, even though I already have a Velocity-only cartridge. So it just made more sense to go ahead and get the 2-on-1 cartridge to me. But yeah, for $4.99, I figured, why not? It seems like a pretty good deal. Hot Wheels All Out, I didn't even know this game existed. It doesn't look great, if I'm being honest, but I still went ahead and picked it up, so hopefully it's good. I just kind of like picking up the racing games. I'm a big racing game fan, so. Also picked up Metabots. This is Metabots Meta B version, and this is a Metabots fighting game. I've never played any of the Metabots games, and I've never watched the anime or anything, but this one does look pretty cool, so I'm excited to check this out and give it a chance. Shrek Smash and Crash Racing. I played this on PS2, and there's actually a review for the PS2 version on my channel. This version is different from the PS2 version. This is more of an isometric view, and I'm interested to check it out. Maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be terrible. We will find out. Picked up BattleBots Design and Destroy on the on the Game Boy Advance. BattleBots was a TV show I used to watch a ton of growing up. I used to always root for this one robot that had these 2 hammers. It had a hammer on each side of it, and I always used to root for that one, I remember. But I'm very happy to have this. I'm excited to try this out and review it for the channel. I think this one is going to be a lot of fun. If nothing else, it'll be a cool trip down memory lane. Picked up another dual cart. This has Quad Desert Fury and Monster Trucks on it. They put the price tag right on the label. That's always nice. Hopefully that I can get that off easily enough. But I'm excited to check this out. These are both, I believe, 3D style games on Game Boy Advance, so it's kind of cool that they put them both on the same cartridge, so I'm excited to check that out. And last, and it might be least, I don't know, this might be pretty terrible, I picked up the Muppets On With the Show on the Game Boy Advance. The only other Muppets game I played was terrible. This one might be terrible as well, if I'm being honest, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a shot because I like the Muppets. Next up, we have the actual console games. This is one I've been contemplating picking up for a while, and I finally found it in pretty decent condition. This is Disney Planes. I never watched Planes, but I love cars, and this is from the same universe as Cars. From above the world of Cars, it says. It's a flying game, though, and I'm interested to see what type of game it is. It looks like it's actually a racing game. Compete against your friends in air rally races, and it says there's also some flying adventure. So I'm interested to see what this is like. I wanted a physical copy of this. I had a PC copy, but I'm not a huge PC gamer. I don't really like PC gaming. So I also picked up Shark Tale. I used to love this movie as a kid. This is a game I've been wanting for a while. And for $3 for a complete copy, that's really clean. That seemed like a pretty good deal. I was originally going to pick this up on the GameCube, but for $2.99, I'm just going to pick it up on the PS2 instead and call it a day. I'm not going to worry about the other version now. So that's really nice to have in the collection as well, especially since it's a movie I grew up with. And last, and I think that this one's going to be pretty good, Monster 4x4 Masters of Metal, powered by Monster Jam. So it is a monster truck game, Monster 4x4, and you can see it obviously has Monster Jam trucks in it. It's got Gravedigger on the front there. It might have some other characters I'm familiar with. Not sure yet. It kind of looks like that's Avenger right there, isn't it? Pretty sure that's Avenger right there. But yeah, you get quite a few different monster trucks there, and I'm not sure who's all going to be in it, but it looks like it's going to be a fun time. I love monster trucks. I love monster truck video games, and this is one that I actually did not have in my collection. I'm getting close to having all the monster truck PS2 games, but I don't think I'm quite there yet, but I'm glad to be another step closer. The case is a little bit broken on the bottom, but that's not a huge deal. At least the actual game and the case and everything is clean, so as long as it's clean, I'm happy with it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe button down below, and thank you for watching my first game hunt of the year. I will be back with another one eventually. Not sure when the next one will be, but I'm always having fun doing these things, and I'm glad that you guys enjoy them, and I always enjoy hearing from you guys as well. So let me know what games you've picked up recently in the comment section down below, and I'll talk to you in the next one. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.